What's up, Rockstars? Today I have the pleasure of talking about a whole bunch of board game news for you. That way you can see everything that's on right now. There are some multi-$100,000 stuff going on. There's stuff for tabletop RPGs, there's stuff for board games, there's stuff for 3D printing. There's a lot to discuss here. So let's go ahead and jump right into the video right now. Now, as you might have noticed, I've been putting out 3 to 4 videos a week now. It's a lot of effort that goes into that, and I don't get any money from any game developer either. I'm completely independent and community driven. So if you want to go ahead and give to that so that I can afford to back a lot of these games that I cover, there is a link down below. I would greatly appreciate it. But if not, that's fine. A like, a subscribe, both of those combined, or a like and a comment, all of that is great. And so if you want to do that, that is fine and free for you to do, and it does help the channel out a lot. And I love hearing from you guys too, so there's that as well. But regardless of whether or not you're just a silent lurker or whether you want to write a comment, either way, let's go ahead. There's a lot to discuss here, so I'm just going to kind of go into it from stuff that's coming up, stuff that's here, to some updates. So stuff that's coming up. Cyberpunk Red Combat Zone. This is from Monster Fight Club. I'm not exactly sure too much about this, except the fact that I feel like they put Cyberpunk and Red next to each other to confuse some backers maybe into thinking this is a CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk 2077 tie-in. It's not that at all. It just makes it look kind of like that. The miniatures look cool, granted. In fact, I think this looks like it could stand on its own without piggybacking or bandwagoning off of those two words being put together, but it is what it is. I don't know. To me, that seems awful sketch, and maybe they're going to claim that just happened to be what they did and just happened to coincide with Cyberpunk 2077. It just happened to, whatever. It looks interesting. So I'm a fast-paced tabletop skirmish with Cyberpunk. So Infinity is a well-known kind of sci-fi, sleek sci-fi tabletop skirmish game. However, they use metal minis, and I don't really like metal minis too much, at all, because they don't look good at all unless you prime them, because the shininess of it makes you not be able to see a lot of the details. So you just have to prime them, often paint them, and I don't like dealing with them, trimming and stuff like that. You get the little metal shavings. And it's not Cyberpunk, right? This is Cyberpunk, like hardcore Cyberpunk. This looks actually really cool. So needless to say, I'm interested in this, even regardless of the name. I don't care what they could name it. Steaming Pile of Poo Combat Zone. And I might still be, in fact, I would probably be more interested at that point. You get what I'm saying. It looks kind of interesting. I will follow up on it. I'll let you guys know what I find in the next video, I suppose. Next up, because everybody's doing video game IP board games, Prison Architect Cardboard County Penitentiary, coming soon. This is based off the Prison Architect video game that's been around for quite some time at this point now, I suppose. It is from PSC Games, which I have never heard of. Again, there's all these companies, and I don't know if I can. 18 created. They've created a lot. What have they done? Roman Roll? Okay. No, I mean, there's some here. This first Roman Roll was like 2000. So some mild success before, but again, this seems to be probably their first big one that they might have, like the big one. I mean, I guess we'll see, but, video game IP, tell you what, you don't have to do a whole lot. As long as people like the video game IP, they'll back. You don't have to put any gameplay info. Just give us some pretty pictures of boxes and say back now, and I'm sure you can get plenty. I don't know. Let's see how much this Monster Fight Club, what have they done? 4 created. Let's see. Like STLs? I don't, nothing. They've done some STL stuff by the looks of it. I don't even know if it's STL stuff or just tabletop game scenery stuff. Interesting. Okay, so this is a big change from them. Okay, we also have Scarface 1920. This is from Redzin. Again, I have no idea when this is coming. I kind of like the idea, though. I'm always been a big fan of the Untouchables, and so I don't know. It'll be kind of interesting. I like the miniature design actually quite a bit. I like the whole fluffed out coat as he's, shoving that in your face, and he's got his gun out and he's kind of in a little bit of a power stance, and all that seems cool. So the mini design seems neat for obviously the era that it's in. It has Big Child Creative, which I'm assuming are doing the miniatures, and then of course Redzen doing the game design part of it. Again, don't know anything about Redzen, but it's enough to get me interested for sure. Okay, let's see. Dark Rituals is coming back with a reprint, a soundtrack. I'm sorry. It's just a straight reprint with a soundtrack to get over Kickstarter's rules of not allowing you to resell the same stuff. Even the Time Machine was the same thing. May 4th is currently the day. Of course, anything that's even that far out could change, right? But May 4th, I have played a single game of this. That's why you have not seen a review. I don't like to do a review unless I get a lot of game time in. You guys know that. I do need to get more in. It's on the list, along with everything else. The game we played, I really enjoyed. Thought it was quite nice. Didn't like it as much as Conan. I don't like pretty much all games as much as Conan. So, like that's okay if I don't quite like it, if it's not my new favorite game. But again, that's only one time, so we'll see. I'll keep playing with it. I love the theme of it. The rule book is kind of crap in a lot of ways. Maybe I'll share more throughout the time, or maybe I'll do, if nothing else, I'll try and do at least a first impression for you guys. I'll talk about a few things at least. But yeah, either way, May 4th is still a ways out. I can postpone it longer, I guess. Next up, we have Redgrass Everlasting Wet Palette 2. This is interesting. So I use an Everlasting Wet Palette for all of my painting, and I paint almost every single night unless I'm doing a recording or I'm editing. If I'm doing one of those two things, then I'll be here doing this. I'm filming this at like 1:28 a.m., right? It is what it is. But I use that when I do paint, and I actually really enjoy it. I think their sponge is quite nice. It actually is fairly mold resistant, which is kind of nice, and it doesn't like disintegrate if you're too rough with it or anything. The cool thing about this, and I will try it out and I'll test it out in time for this. This comes out in May. Is they now have a new parchment paper thing that they are actually like patenting. This one, it's a reusable membrane. It only works like one side, like you can't put it on the wrong side, but you can actually wash it, like being careful with it, and use it up to like 7, 10 plus times. Just kind of depends. The paint washes off and you can reuse it. That is an incredible value, and you still get like packages of 10 of them. So I have a few of them. I don't have the new palette. The new palette comes with clip-ons instead of a magnet, which is nice. It's just more secure. And the clip-on, they now have a pot holder that will fit a Citadel pot. So you no longer have to have the silicone tray ones or a 3D printer or something like that. You can have it up to 2 of them. I guess up to 4, because you could probably put 2 on the other side too. Right there next to your wet palette. That is awesome. I will 100% be using that. That is super cool. And even if you don't get the new thing, they actually have spots for magnets. You can put your own magnets in and use it on your old one, should you so choose. It's a little bit larger as well. I think it's a little bit wider on this size, like the small size. I don't know if the large size grew or not. Either way, a lot of actually really interesting stuff. I can't wait to try these reusables out. I can't just throw away my other one, so I'm going to have to use up my first one. But then my wife, who paints as well, she'll be using it as well. We'll have both of us use it, both of us washing it. I'll let you know how it works. Really interested in that though. Seriously, that's going to be super cool. And honestly, if it honestly is can just wash and reuse, kind of a game changer. That plus the pot holder, I'm golden. That's awesome. I love it. Okay, next up, Marvel United X-Men. This is going to be the X-Men. I love the X-Men. Probably my favorite IP. When I played Marvel Heroes back in the day before it was canceled, I played a lot of X-Men, Gambit and Storm, and pretty much anybody I could, right? Even like Magic and some of the more rare characters. So really liked that. I think a lot of people think I don't like Marvel. I actually really like Marvel, just mostly comics over the movies, but that's because I'm a comic reader. Either way, and I grew up watching the animated series. I mean, who didn't? So I guess people in any age bracket, that's not mine. Just know that, again, this is probably going to retail, and again, you could probably get it for like $15. So when there's that much of a price difference, I feel it would be wrong of me not to mention that. Just know you're paying for those stretch goals. There's going to be a ton of stretch goals. They're going to be super awesome. They're going to be super cool. Like I said, if they include Magic, even I'll be kind of interested because she's a very cool character, I think. A lot of them are. But there's a lot they could do with this, and I'm sure it'll be really, really cool. Just know that you're paying for it, right? It's not like you're actually saving money at all. You're actually paying premium for those extras. So as long as you're okay with that, I say go for it. And you're okay with spending that much money on a filler game, that's fine too, or a very casual family game. But either way, even if you just want it for the minis, just know you can probably grab it a lot cheaper at retail. Like a lot cheaper. There's like, normally you can grab it a little bit cheaper retail because you're not even paying shipping, but like, they had Marvel United for $15. So, I mean, and it was $60 on the Kickstarter, right? So when it's like triple the price or quadruple the price, I start to be like, if you're paying 4 times as much, hopefully you're just getting your money's worth. So just keep that in mind. It's a little bit different than a lot of command games. A lot of command games, like a Zombicide, it's 90 core box or 120. Well, there's not that much of a difference. Price-wise, you're getting a ton more, right? Marvel United's a bit different. You're paying a lot more, but you're getting a lot more too. It's just not quite as clear-cut. So, FYI, I want you guys to be informed. There you go, you're informed. Dungeons and Lasers 3rd edition. I need to contact Archon. They had mentioned once that they wanted to send me these. So I will let you guys know if I'm able to look at this before it launches. It looks super cool. I love, by the way, that they do these pre-launch stretch goals. I think it's kind of nice. And anything that we get that's added is good, right? I mean, that's just how that works. It looks highly interesting. I like it. I like the idea of how it fits together and all that. And I love the Rampart stuff. So definitely interested in seeing what this looks like. And how it really works. 60 plus miniatures to complete tabletop terrain town is coming soon. I'm assuming it's going to be just as massive as the other ones, which were already quite massive. So, and with this many followers and a 3rd edition, they're obviously doing something right. Obviously, the other 2 went well, or this wouldn't be the case, right? I'm assuming a lot of these people have 1st edition or 2nd edition. If there's this many people, over almost 6,000 people on a 3rd edition, to me, as a consumer, that tells me it's probably a quality product for what it is. Now, whether it's right for me or not is different, but it's not some crap thing, right? This isn't the first time Kickstarter. This is the 3rd time they've been doing this, and there's still 6,000 people interested ahead of time wanting to know more about it. So, sounds pretty good to me. A reminder, SCP Foundation, the board game Confidential Crisis, is coming to Kickstarter at a even 1,000 followers. I'm sure we'll change that though, right guys? I was told to look into SCP Foundation and I have not, but I will someday, maybe. It looks cool. I mean, like the IP looks cool. The minis look a little kind of lackluster to me, but it just looks like an indie kind of thing. Dig Deep. What has Dig Deep done? This is the first thing. First thing, I think it might be kind of IP related. I don't know. Just use common sense. Don't give in to hype. You'll be good. Let's talk about games that are out on Kickstarter right now, like Mythic Battles Ragnarok. At a cool 800,000. I hope that we hit 1 million before I post this. I guess like 8.5 hours. So, golly, I don't get enough sleep. Anyway, 4,300 backers. I reviewed this. I unboxed this. If you have not seen those and you're interested, they're both on the Kickstarter page, but there's also linked down below. You can check those out. Right now, I am a $1 backer, and that's because they emailed me and said that they're going to be offering the game for a final review and unboxing. I don't know what that all includes, though, because I am interested in... I guess first of all, we'll talk about the stretch goals here. So, Grendel's mother is coming. We got to get Mama in there, obviously. Here's Grendel, though, on top of a house. So, I talked to them about the, I asked them about the basing, and they said they wanted it to kind of fit into Mythic Battles Pantheon. It was already an existing franchise that had flat bases. Plus, most people just put snow on it anyway. So between those two things, they decided to not enforce it, but to also allow their sculptors, if they needed to do something dynamic and make it where it might even be fully based. It might be partially based. Here's another fully based one. It just depends on what the artist, wants to do for a dynamic and cool sculpt. So they don't have to be flat. They do have sitting miniatures. That's important, of course. We have a giant squirrel. That's important, of course, because it's a squirrel. That's how that works. First thing they unlocked was tier, so you got another god, you got a monster, a hero, another monster, a troop, another hero, and another monster, and then another monster. So they're definitely unlocking a lot of these. I expect them to do the normal kind of thing where they'll do some scenarios and stuff like that as well over time. Seriously though, $120 for the core box is a great deal with all the stretch goals we're adding already. Honestly, it's like I just played another game today. That's why I'm starting this so late. So there's definitely a lot of gameplay there, and even the core box. This is huge though. If you guys, $135 for the entire Kickstarter edition of Pandora's Box is amazing. Amazing. There are so many miniatures in there. In fact, you can click on this. It'll show you. It's a ton. So you get the core box, which includes all of this junk, right? And these are actually still good minis, even to this day. They use ABS to keep things straight. They have 3D terrain stuff, custom dice, a lot of cool stuff. And then they have like 55 like of these expansions and all of just, I mean, it's a ton. It's a lot of stuff. This is huge. $135. That is a great freaking deal. I'm so glad they don't like upcharge that up the wazoo. And in fact, you can get both for $239. That is so much game. You are fine. You get that and you feel good about yourself. Don't think like you're missing out. That being said, you're missing out. So let's go to the life tree itself. All in, this is just Ragnarok. $300. $300 for an all in is awesome. Let's see, they have the Nidhogg, the Jormung, and the these are all Titans. They have the big Asgard expansion. It's kind of like the Hera or the Poseidon or the Hephaestus one. And then a Ragnar Saga. It's kind of like the Trojan Heroes, talking about what was in the Pantheon version of it. We'll go look at that. And then they also have even cooler custom dice. And then they have all the sleeves you could want. I have these dark ones here. They are fantastic. And definitely needed if you mix Pantheon and that. Otherwise, you know kind of what's coming up, right? And that's cheating. So does your your opponent as well. So you get an additional dice set. You also get the card sleeves that you need for the all-in, including stretch goals, and the art book as well for $300. If you don't want the art book and the sleeves and the additional dice, I believe it's actually still saving money to do these individually. But keep in mind that you will need multiple sets of card sleeves, right? So there's 4 each, right? For like 4 for each 50, and you'll need quite a few. And if you don't want to be swapping around, trust me, you don't want to be swapping around. So you'll need quite a few. Here's everything you've seen me unbox. So we're going to skip over this again. If you want to see a detailed unboxing of that, you certainly can. I go into great detail on that. Okay. So this is going to tell you how to play the game. It's great that they have a whole bunch of gameplay stuff, but this is an established system as well. So they do go over just what's new too, which is super nice actually. Optional buys. Here's Asgard. You do get Odin with his one eye. His right eye is like closed like this. He has his horse with all of his legs, of course. Heimdall here looks really plain. I would love to see him actually blowing his horn as opposed to just standing. Like, he looks a little too static for me. I would love to see this changed. This is by far the worst miniature out of the bunch. He looks cool from a design point, just not from a sculpt design point. So I hope to see him a little bit more actiony. Again, just him blowing the horn I think would be enough. But, and again, next to Odin, he looks, even more lackluster. That Valkyrie is amazing. The Pegasus horse thing, whatever, is freaking dragging a body, which is super cool. Look at this freaking deer thing. Heck yes, these are awesome. A wolf, gotta get a wolf, so down with that, of course. All these look cool. I love the kind of feather cloak we got going on there. And then, of course, you get a double-sided map, plus more dashboards and tokens, and 6 more scenarios, and a whole bunch of other stuff, of course. So, very cool there. Here's a Ragnar Saga, and this is kind of like the Trojan War Heroes thing. You get a giant ox. Just the idea, conceptually, of putting an ox guy against a Titan sounds amazing. Like Ymir versus bull. Let's do it. That sounds awesome. So there's definitely some interesting characters here. I'm sure they interact in very cool ways. And then another 2 scenarios with them as well. And then you get the Titans. They're about $20 each. By the way, all the VAT and US sales are included. What that means is that it's included in the price, probably in the shipping. It just means that you're not going to be added that afterwards, is all that means. It doesn't mean like everybody's paying. I guarantee it's in the shipping, is what the smart thing would do on their part, I would think. That's what I would do. Just charge it in the shipping and be done with it, as opposed to some weird unknown cost afterwards. Okay, so you get this guy. I was wondering how they were going to do him because he's so big. Having him wound up like that, I think, is smart and still be freaking huge. He also comes with these little, like, tide wave kind of marker things going on there. And again, he gets actually 2 scenarios to him as well. Here is Cert, looking all freaking lava demon. Love his sword. He reminds me a lot of Kronos. Kind of had a similar texture in my mind. And again, another 2 scenarios and some burning tokens. They got Nidhogg, who again looks freaking sweet. I think he looks awesome. I kind of teased him earlier for you guys. And you get another 2 scenarios with him as well. And yeah, definitely strong guys there. The dice set look actually really, really cool. So I'm digging that. And again, if you have Pantheon, highly recommend you get the sleeves. Even if not, you do shuffle your deck quite often. Anytime you use an Art of War card to do a maneuver to search your card, or just after you go through it all. So having sleeves helps shuffle when you do like a mass shuffle and stuff like that. Or just protect your cards regardless of how you shuffle. Art book should be interesting, especially because it has Tales of the 9 Worlds. As if they have lore, I'm in. It's pretty much as simple as that. I'd like it to be 25, but 30 with 110 pages. Lore hardbound. I'll still probably bite on that. Here's what changed. This is awesome that they have this. Have some different terrain types. The Ascend I told you guys about. There's a slight change in a 3-player game, and when it ends, the Titan versus God. There's a bonus if you play the God. And then, of course, the rune, I told you about that as well. And then they made it to where any god can use any divinity stone, which makes sense. That's pretty much it. Here's these 2 videos, again, linked down below if you need those. There's some more if you want some more variety or if you want to speak French. This looks at an angle, which is kind of weird. I think it might be. I don't know. So let's see here. What are we doing here? So the United States has, like, for the big one, $53. Makes sense. Sales tax is pretty small. And then if you get, like Canada's got 62. This isn't that much. What, 39 for United Kingdom? That's nothing. That's cheap. $70 for all of this junk, though. If you live in any of those, good luck there. 78, 200 for Brazil. Whoo! If you're playing board games in Brazil, bless you. Okay. Anyway, so that's where that one's at. I wanted to go over that because I know that's a big one. Moving on, we have Lasting Tales, a fantasy miniature game. This one is at a cool 600,000, actually just about even now. This is definitely a D&D kind of thing. It comes with a board game, but I think you're really getting this for the cheap minis because you get what, $75 is what you'd want for the stretch goals and the minis, and how many do you get? I mean, a lot, right? I find them to be rather kind of generic and, like nothing to write home about, a little static, like I'm a scorpion, or I have a shield and a mace, like very static, and there's not a lot of life to them. So they're definitely not something I'm interested in, but I don't just need a whole bunch of minis to fill a D&D campaign where there's an NPC you talk to briefly once, right? Or something like that. But if that's what you need is kind of some cheaper minis, then you can definitely get that. There's certainly not, like the texture's kind of lackluster, and it just, none of these minis strike me as like amazing, right? But you might need 5 town guards, in which case here's some 5 town guards. So, yeah, it is what it is. Again, they're you get what you pay for, I guess is what I'm saying. They seem decent quality. I don't know anything about the game, so I can't comment on that at all. You do get 5 dogs, though. And I don't know what it is with Blacklist, but I don't like their artist. It's not my style of art. Not my thing. But they seem to be doing quite well. There's definitely some repeat people that are coming in. I imagine they hit that almost 6,000 backers. So I might be in the minority here when it comes to not needing, like, I would just buy these to paint, and I would not paint any of these. Just my 2 cents. But again, a lot of people want some just cheap minis for D&D, in which case there you go. Next up, we have Mixtape Massacre Director's Cut. This is actually doing quite well, 140,000. Very good. Very close to being done. So, like, this is your 48-hour warning on this. Go ahead. Again, all these links are down below. So it comes with standees, but also has some minis that you can add on to it. I've heard nothing but good things about the game. When I covered this the first time, several people reached out and told me about how, the game's actually really good and they've done a great job with it. This is, I think, the 3rd iteration they've done on it. So you just kind of going around, you can be the legend or, whoever the bad guy might be. Let me see if I can get to the minis for you guys. That's what you care about. You can kind of see them. They're not the, craziest minis ever, but they look decent. They look on par with this junk, right? I mean, it's just kind of like kind of staticky, kind of awkward proportioned. Detail level looks decent though. I mean, again, I don't know how they're gonna. I've never seen their minis, so I don't know like how that hook hand is gonna come out, for instance, right? But either way, it's definitely a cool. I love the slasher theme of it, right? And they're going all in on the kind of old school. Here's a better look at it. You can kind of see them a little bit better there. So anyway, that's that. You have the Scare Factory. Now this is interesting. This is their second time on Kickstarter, and they are struggling to fund again. They still have 23 days, so they could technically pull it off, but the initial hurdle did not get them nearly as far as I'm sure they wanted to. Reading their comments, it looks like they've used just about all their marketing funds to kind of do what they can with like some Facebook ads and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I'm assuming they weren't able to get a lot, like it did a lot of, I don't want to sound, I guess egotistical in what I do, but, I think reaching out to influencers is a very smart thing to do. Mainly because if somebody likes the game and then other people follow that person that liked the game, it tends to do pretty good. Okay, so let's see, this was paid for. I believe most of those are paid for. Have no idea about that. No idea about Hungry Gamer. So there's a few here and then a few I don't even really recognize at all. The Circle of Nerds. 660. Somebody subscribe. They need 666 subscribers. Let's get the devil up in this and Scare Factory. Yeah, I've not really heard of these other ones. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I haven't clicked on any to see like how many actual hits they got. I have never once, don't ever pay the Dice Tower for a preview. I've never seen the traction. They don't use a tracked link even, so they can't even prove how many people they've sent to your campaign. I have no idea what people pay money to that. Don't pay money to anybody who doesn't use tracked links to at least prove how many people they moved to your thing. I can find out right now how many people I've put to the Scare Factory, at least the first one. So yeah, I don't know. That's some garbage there, which also means wasted money, which is unfortunate. But I will say, here's my critique of the campaign. So first of all, I guess I'm not sold on the amount of content that you get when it comes to playability. And I think the miniature renders are really, really bad. This is all fine. Like, it would be nice to see these bigger, but it looks like bigger. It gets blurry, so I guess I don't really have some high quality artwork to use there, perhaps, which is kind of unfortunate. But I mean, these all look the same to me too, so they look really generic there. You know, the dice are cool. You get the standees. That's, you know, whatever, tokens and whatnot. Go over here to the minis, and you see how washed out and no contrast it is. That's really unfortunate. So inside of the 3D render engine, whoever sculpted this for you should be able to change a lot of what this looks like, even the material, but you don't need to change the material. Just the lighting and contrast. It's really washed out here, and it shouldn't be. And that's on like all of them. Like, I can't even see detail here, which is really unfortunate. I don't know why they were sent these as the 3D renders, but these are not good. Like, I can't tell this at all. It just washes everything out, unfortunately. So it is what it is. Also, there's some stuff like this little skinny part here won't work. Same with over here in the final mini. I mentioned this the last time, and apparently nobody watched my video to change that or didn't care enough. But either way, that won't work. So there's some stuff that's like, well, that's impossible in the final mini as well. So the sculpt design's a little odd there too. To me, that's already kind of an unfortunate thing. But then just looking at, and then look, there's totally different kind of art here. Now it's like 3D art kind of stuff. I don't know why the art changed there, but whatever. Because you see how weird he stands out, right, compared to all these other guys? Like, they got a different artist to do it by the looks of it, I'm assuming. Looking at the gameplay, though, it just doesn't, I don't know. They need to, yeah, it looks like you get like two bosses, a couple bosses, and then the rooms that all look kind of the same, I guess, move around. I don't know. It's the actual mechanics seem interesting. I just don't know how much I'd actually play it. And I think other people are probably thinking the same thing too. So if you could show that, I think that would definitely help. If you take the time, and I know you probably don't even do this full time. I don't do this full time either. If you take the time to really kind of, you know, just kind of revamp how you're showing off the game, I think that could really help. Next up, we have Anime 5e, because why not? This actually looks kind of cool. So I dig me some anime. There's a slime right there, right? You get, the super anime kind of art style and everything, but it looks like they went all in. I mean, they have 14 new races and 14 new classes, and you can get, hardbound book there. That looks like a Bible, actually. Which is funny. Anyway, $13 for the PDF. So, I mean, you can get this cheap if you want, or you can spend $100 and get the different books and, dungeon master screen and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff here, actually. I don't know a lot about D&D, so I couldn't help you too much there. It just seems like a lot to me. It seems like a pretty good price, and I like the idea. So, there you go. Next up, we are almost done here. Wargame Resin STL base toppers. I am actually a backer of this, so I wanted to mention it. These are actually toppers that go on the base. If I scroll all the way down too far, oh my gosh, where is it? Here. See, it's just a topper you put on the base, which I think is super cool. And for $16, you get every single STL. So everything you see here, you get. So you get all of these. You get all of these. So they have hex tiles. They have road tiles, sewers, pirate ships. This would be great. A lava, you could paint it green instead of red, and then it's slime, or even blue if you really wanted to, maybe. Cargo, you get like the metal stuff. Graveyard, this would be great for D&D or really anything. Starships, they do have the physical stuff. You can see the price for the physical, but again, 16 gets you every single STL, which is super awesome. So if you see an STL, you're getting it for $16. That is killer. You also have Urban Ruins. That'd be great for like Fallout. If you guys play the Fallout Wisdom Warfare, there you go. You're welcome. Rocky Landscape could be for the enemies in Fallout, actually, even. Or I plan on doing this for some Warhammer stuff, probably. Gothic Ruins, again, Warhammer would be great there, but so would any vampire, I suppose. Demons of Hell, Skull and Bones. Then they have different add-ons you can, put on there and stuff like that. Super cool. And again, 16 freaking bucks. Yeah, I can do that. Easy. There you go. I'll use it too. Next up, we have Robinson Crusoe. This is on GameFound. Robinson Crusoe. I think I said that terribly. It's got 7 days left at time of recording. Might be 6 by the time you see this. I don't know when it flips over. Honestly, the price seems pretty good. If you ask me, this is like so overkill. It's ridiculous. I don't know how big this is. What is this? 2.6 inches by 2.6 inches by 2. So it's not big. It's like that big. Right? It's not huge. It's about that big. This image is probably bigger than it actually is. Which means there's some crazy detail there if they pull it off. But it's a cool design that you get to kind of build up and visually see you being more defended and have more options and stuff like that. They have a lava dice tower and a horse companion. You probably do. I guess my only problem is like every single, almost every single Awakened Realms game. Though this is not an Awakened Realms game, it's just the minis. The minis seem like you don't really need them, to be honest. I mean, from what I've seen of the game, they don't really seem too usable, but they are cool, and you still get the game plus new stuff. $135 for all the new stuff. That's not bad. If you want to get everything that this game has, $193.81, so sub $200, and you get all the minis and stuff. That's actually pretty darn good. I think that's pretty cool. That's not bad. You guys will have to explain this to me. What's up with this upgrade pack, or these packs in the companion app? So are they selling $35? Like, what is this? What is the companion app selling add-ons for the app? Because that sounds like garbage. All 3 packs in a bundle with a great discount. You get all 3 for the price of 2 packs. So you're spending $36 once tax is included to unlock these digital cards in the companion app. Ew. I feel dirty just saying that. I don't know. Digital DLC in a board game hurts my soul. I think that's really all I have to say about that. My soul hurts a little bit. I look forward to the day when I can buy some $50 to give me 1,000 tokens that I can do on my loot grab, where I try and open up companion app pack bundles of 11 and hope for that chase card rare. And have like a 1% chance of getting. That's probably, I guess, a couple years from now when we get that in board games. fun. Anyway, moving on from that. That's weird. V-Commandos Deluxe, 320,000. Congrats on that. This is from Triton North. You might know them from the original or from Assassin's Creed. They did this one as well. They have not delivered this yet, so keep that in mind. I would have liked to have them wait to deliver that before they did this, but not everybody listens to me or asks my opinion. It's already a game that's been out, V-Commandos. People have already loved it. From my understanding, it's reviewed very well. This is just adding minis. It's adding an XP mode, which sounds cool. There's just, tiles and stuff like that they're doing. They're adding more onto it, which I think is cool. Honestly, it looks slick. Like, it looks nice. I'm not going to back it, but it looks nice. If that makes sense. I don't know. It's kind of hard because I actually really do like the theme of it. It's just the actual gameplay itself, from what I can see, doesn't quite grab me in, if that makes sense. And it looks like a lot of repeated minis. Ugh, no thank you. I could just buy a pack of Army Men and get probably pretty close to quality. Army Men actually, like, if you look at it, they're actually not too bad minis. Considering how cheap they are. Okay, anyway, it is what it is. This one's kind of interesting. Anheron Quest. This is actually an STL file, but I guess it's based off of a book series that they just decided to make some 3D printed renters out of. Kind of cool. I kind of dig that. They're a little pricey. It's $30 for all these. Though you get a 75 and a 32mm pre-supported. This is kind of BS though. Even if you do support that, taking the supports off are going to break that. That's too skinny. That needs to be thickened. That would actually kind of bother me. Because, again, you're going to put, like, your supports there, but just even cutting off the support is going to break that. Way too skinny. That's just silly. Everything else here looks good. This is that one that's silly. I think they look cool. 75mm, you can get them nice and big, and they're pre-supported at 75, which is very nice. Coming off the base here, I think they're very well sculpted, minus the, human hair that they use for the thickness of the bow strand, but whatever. Anyway, that's down here. They are not pledged or funded yet, so they still have some funding to go. Link down below, of course. Let's do some updates. Massive Darkness shared their resins, and people are complaining about some of them. I honestly think for a resin, these look fine. Like, this looks great. Looks totally okay. Down with that. I always thought this guy looked ugly. I still think he looks ugly, but now he is there in resin. This bear looks stupid, and now everybody's saying it's stupid. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, the bear's bad. I'm going to go back to the campaign, and I'll show you how the bear always looked stupid. The bear looks just as stupid as it did before. I don't know. The proportions and sculpt design of most of these minis, or half these minis, just confuse the crap out of me. Like, I don't understand it. It just isn't my thing. So it's part of one of the add-ons. Oh, so much scroll. Oh my gosh. Okay. Past the core box. We'll get there. Don't worry. We're on our way. Past the campaign they didn't really tell us about. Past the rule book. Okay. Alright, here we go. We're close. And here he is. Look at there. He looks stupid there too. His weird bendy arm that keeps it has a very wide elbow, and it's flat and just ugly and stupid. Yeah, I wouldn't ever want to even use him. He looks terrible. A lot of people didn't like him. I thought he looked pretty much what they showed. I forget where he is. I remember looking him up. I think he was a stretch goal. I think he looks pretty much the same. I don't think he looks great, but I think he looked great in the render too. I think people just got so hyped up with the renders, and then when they see the real thing, they're like, I don't know. They're showing two different texture levels here for the raised stripes. I think I would have preferred them in instead of out, actually. Even just slightly in. Brush can follow a slight inlet really well, and it doesn't look so silly, especially if you fill it up with paint. You can go a little thick on there. The raised parts, you have to then do the sides. It makes it much harder to paint. I actually don't like painting too many raised things because of that, because you get that, again, that little raised side part here. Yeah, they look good. She looks good. It's kind of hard to tell on some of these, but that is a heroine. Moth guy, it's alright. This texture here looks very, very, very faint to me. I am very suspect about how great that'll look in the final production plastic. Otherwise, I think it looks kind of cool. All right, that's all I had to say about that. Next up, we have a big update. If it would load. Oh my gosh, it loaded before. Okay, thanks. Okay, so Sankokushin has an update. I'm just going to kind of keep scrolling. You guys have seen this. I've shown this before. They didn't show the whole thing. Here's the whole thing. There she is. Very cool mini. Very cool designed. Very epic in pretty much every way possible, right? Just like a ta-da, I'm here kind of thing. So really dig that. That's a cool mini. I love the wrappings. Like the interlay wrappings. It kind of reminds me of a handle like a samurai sword or something, but on a much bigger scale. So there's that. Endless Rain, they're talking about how she has rain tokens and all that kind of stuff. They're actually going to show some real hips minis that they have, so that's kind of cool. Showing off this guy, I guess he's like right there with her. This is a work in progress, so they're still working on that, but looks pretty cool. I like the kind of unique sword that he has going on there. That's neat. Here she is in hips. Again, this is just kind of a first pass, and it's not a good picture because it got like hair on it and weird crap like that. There's a little bit of a gap there in assembly that you could probably just fix by assembling better, but it's not cleaned up like at all. I always wonder like who they get to build these. I feel like I could have done a better job. And again, if you're too concerned, just put a primer on it real quick, maybe just to, actually make it more. Again, there's a lot of like dust and stuff. It's kind of funny. But not everybody has I liked her shoes. I never noticed her shoes before. And this is actually not, this is like water droplets, because she actually causes it to rain. Kind of cool. I dig that. They said they're going to be working on him a little bit to see what cuts are best, because it's such a kind of, dynamic model to figure out how best to build him, essentially. But there he is. You can see, I think actually these are better pictures here. But, is what it is. As you can see, I think it looks pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's nice to see real minis and not renders. So I appreciate that. I talk about armor sets a lot. I'm going to get into all of them, but there's a lot of armor sets that do a lot of different things for you. Whether it's give you protection from lightning or make you better charmer or, whatever it is. Talk about building stuff and how you can build different weapons. And they go into quite a bit of detail about all of these. Some NPCs you can meet and different cards you can use them as when you get them. A lot of stuff. The Skull Samurai is pretty cool. Essentially, the game tracks your sins. Or essentially how you deal with the world around you, enemies and events and stuff like that. And the Skull Samurai will act differently depending on how he judges your actions. Now, what his version of good judgment is, I don't know. And maybe you purposely are like, I don't care what you think. And maybe you're like, well, I do care what you think, so I'm going to change it. I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot there. A whole lot. But again, link down below to that. Guys, that's it. My voice is going out. It's late. It's after 2 a.m. now. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this. I'm going to go and upload to YouTube. You guys will be able to see this real soon here. I'm going to catch kind of a nap of a night here, but that's okay. I enjoy talking to you guys. So that's all of my update. If you have anything else that I missed, let me know down below. I'll take a look at it. Maybe I'll include it in my next one. I will have a review for Monster Hunter World coming out soon. So I'll have that. I'll also have a cage match of Monster Hunter World versus Primal versus Arena. So we're going to be having a kind of a couple kind of boss battlers going on there, at least. I don't know. I might add some more. I might take out Arena. It might just be Monster Hunter versus Primal. I'll let you guys know. I'll figure it out. It depends on my final thoughts on the matter, I suppose. If you have a preference, though, again, let me know. You can reach out to me, obviously, via comment below, but you can email me or message me on Facebook or Discord or whatever, too. And I will take that into consideration and see what you guys want. Anyway, that's it for me. Take care. Have a great day.